Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? Michael Zuber, author of One Rental at a Time. And this is, of course, your weekly Saturday live Q&A. I go ahead and collect questions from out the week to kind of start this session off. But my real hope is you join me for these live sessions. You ask questions, and I really enjoy that because it allows us to go deeper. When I get questions or comments and we can't interact, it doesn't allow me to sometimes get to what you're looking for, right? I have to make assumptions. I obviously have my own internal bias, and we really can't have that kind of discussion. So I enjoy this once a week, Saturday free for all, see what happens. If you want to ask me a question, the best way to make it happen is get your questions in early. Just leave a question. I'm not actually sure where it is in the comments. And what I will do after I go through my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's call it 6 questions, I will merge one together or two together, two into one. I will get to your question. So if you wanted to ask me a question about real estate, interest rates, consumers, markets, rentals, flips, wealth, your money right, those all are kind of things I have experience with, a track record that is, it's okay. It's worked for us. So again, I promise to give you my heartfelt opinion about what it is. And if I don't know, I will likely just tell you. So with that, again, go ahead, leave your questions over here. We will get started. I'm actually going to start with one that I got I don't know, it may not have been 20. It's somewhere between 15 and 20 kind of links and people sending me other YouTube clips. And this is about Ray Dalio. If you've been watching my channel, which again, we've been doing daily shows for over 2 years now. So thank you for coming back. Ray Dalio had some comments about Bitcoin this week, and I'm not sure. I'm a real estate guy, right? I did, move 1% of my net worth into crypto over the last 6 months. It's purely an insurance policy. I'm not adding to it. I won't add to it. But for whatever reason, people now are sending me that. So let's just talk about it. Ray Dalio had a conversation or an article that talked about Bitcoin potentially being outlawed or put under some kind of government regulation, a lot like gold was back in, I think it was the 30s. I guess a couple of things. First and foremost, yeah, anything's possible in this world, right? This new asset type certainly could come under. I actually think regulation risk is kind of the biggest risk, and really one of the only risks out there that could really kind of whack the entire crypto space. So yeah, it's a risk. Kind of when I read that, it first off made me feel like, Ray, you Bridgewater Associates is legendary in the hedge fund space. But as I've read the article or read summaries of his discussion, it's kind of like, Ray, and I said this before when I talked about Ray on the last time, he's been very focused on the 1920s and 1930s. As have I've looked at that a lot because I saw similarities, but he's not transitioning out of that. He's kind of like staying in that. And I think it's detrimental. He's not realizing or understanding, I think, what is kind of Bitcoin. But in the end, could the US outlaw it? Absolutely. Absolutely. With a stroke of a pen, it could be outlawed, a lot like gold. Would that destroy Bitcoin? I'm not too sure. I don't know if it would destroy Bitcoin. It might actually make Bitcoin more interesting, frankly. Who knows what would happen, but Bitcoin's not a US phenomenon. It's not a US asset. It's digital gold for the world, or whatever you want to call it. My insurance policy might pay off really well if that happened. I don't know. It's not my area of expertise, but yes, it's possible. But I'm not sure Bitcoin goes to zero if that happens. So I don't know, Ray. It's too hard for me. I'm going to stick to real estate. I got my 1% insurance policy and I'm good. Next up. So just yesterday, I put out a note, a live stream. And then while I was talking with Ty for our weekly discussion for Squad Up on their Facebook page, which is awesome. Thanks, Ty, for doing that. I told real estate agents and brokers and also investors, the perfect storm that we have seen the last 12 to 14 months, it is going to change. Real estate is cyclical. If you do the work like I talk about, you will see it coming. Every market is different. Every market will start at different times. The rate of change will be different, but it will happen. I am convinced that all of the perfect storm that led to an unbelievable year for real estate in 2020 and the early parts of 2021 are going to change. Now, some of you are going to hear me say that and not listen. Some of you have been brainwashed by other channels that just because I'm saying the market's going to change, you think a crash is coming. I hopefully have been clear on this topic. There will not be a crash, a national crash in 2021. Even if, like I've said, the perfect storm ends. So let me tie those together. The perfect storm ends means our 15% or 14.6 or whatever number you want to quote nationally will start to reduce and drop and be in the single digits for 2021. So what is the perfect storm? Well, you can start in any order you want. I'll start with interest rates. The 30-year mortgage was pushed, beaten, compacted, whatever you want to use, by our US government as low as they could take it. They did that for lots of excellent reasons. And if you are one of the persons to take advantage of the last 12 months, congratulations, you have locked in a 30-year mortgage that you will probably never refi out of. If you have a 2.7% interest rate, you're never going to refi out of that thing. Congratulations, you're going to pay off your house. But what has that done for us? Is it freed up capital? It'll make us stronger consumers going forward. Some of you took cash out. Awesome, right? You took cash out, you did a little bit, you're remodeling the homes. They needed to get the economy going, and without question, look at Home Depot, look at Lowe's, look at building supplies. It worked. But now it is very clear the federal government is talking about reducing that, and it's going to happen. Rates are going to go up. I don't know what they would naturally be, but they would not be 2.7. I'm going to guess by the end of the year, they're in the mid to high threes. I'm, of course, talking about owner occupants. That's what most have. But next year, 2022, they're going to be in the fours. Some of you hear that. Some of you have been investing for a couple of years. You're like, oh my God, rates doubled. Well, I'm here to tell you that I've been in the market a long time. I would kill for a 4%. Well, I wouldn't kill. Let's be clear. I would really like a 4% interest rate on all my rental houses. Can't get them, right? Got to do commercial, which is in the sixes sometimes. But what I want to tell you is, if you do your homework, like I tell my students, I teach about, you're going to see it coming. It's going to be a wonderful time to make more and more offers because you'll actually start getting counters. And we're going to be able to add rentals to our portfolio. And I think single family homes are without question the place to be. I think for the next decade to 15 years, we're going to see a trend of more, we're going to see homes be the asset of choice, right? We're going to see an increase in home ownership, likely with the Biden 15K tax credit, which will come eventually, likely with millennials getting of age to buy, likely of work from home and live in a cheaper area. There's just so many things that make the home the right choice, but interest rates will be up. So that's one. The perfect storm is ending on interest rates. Oh, what do we want to go to next? Let's go to supply next. Without question, the thing that people point at, whether it's Diana Olick on CNBC or the Wall Street Journal or Fortune Magazine or Forbes or the CEO of Zillow or whoever it is, they talk about inventory. Well, we've seen a year of the move-up buyers not participating. they were told to stay home, so they did. And, not only did they not want to go see somebody else's house, but they didn't want anybody coming into theirs. This supply issue is going to change for 3 reasons. I think the biggest component for 2021, right? Because all of this is timing, folks. 2021 is going to be that move up buyer. It's that person who bought something 10 years ago. It's going, holy cow, I've got 30, 40, 50% equity. Honey, let's go get a nicer house. That's going to happen. That's going to start in April, May. It's going to be awesome. Next, frustrated landlords. 2, the federal government is kicking the teeth in of some mom and pop investors who happen to have a disproportionate amount of their tenants not paying. Gotta be painful. Some of those landlords are going to finally get to the other side of the eviction moratorium and go, I give up. This freaking game's rigged, and they're going to sell. I think they're going to sell mainly to owner occupants. They're going to kick them out, clean them up, sell them. Might as well maximize the return. But some of them are going to be like, here are the keys. I'm out. And then, of course, there will be some foreclosures or short sales. I do not believe most of that. I don't believe foreclosures and short sales hit until 2022. But if you lost your job, you had to move for your job, and you have a lot of equity, you could list your house this year, right? Before a foreclosure or a short sale needs to happen. So in the end, I am super excited that as we get to the spring season, as the consumer feels better, that's why I watch the consumer, right? I watch the consumer. Janet Yellen watches unemployment. I watch the consumer as an economist. And I fully expect the consumer to start getting antsy. I mean, shoot, even I, someone who's not been out of the house really in a year or I guess 13 months, I booked a trip for July. Dude, I'm done with this nonsense. I want out. So I think a lot of people are going to be there. So it was that supply. Oh, and then demand, right? Demand is going to start to be whacked a little, right? Artificially low rates means more people get yes answers. Demand is the one that could really, though, stay strong, right? So let's explain that. We have the millennials becoming homeowners increasingly. Awesome. I think that is a wonderful way to get on the property ladder, build wealth, change your future. We've seen a huge outpouring of Class A urban to suburban houses. Awesome. But I do envision this 15K credit coming. I do imagine it being very focused on first-time owners. I think there's a lot of rules and regulations, like what's a first-time owner? Is it, first time ever buying a home? Is it first time in 5 years? Are there income thresholds? Everything that's produced by the government today seems to have income thresholds. So it wouldn't shock me if this has income thresholds as well. But yeah, lots and lots of stuff coming. So again, the perfect storm we've been in, it's been tough. Myself included. 250 offers, got nothing. I suspect if I make 250 offers, let's call it tax. Well, actually, tax day changed, right? It's not April 15th anymore. I don't know. Let's just say April 15th on. It's going to be a good year, right? So that's what I think is coming. I did a video on that yesterday, and again, watch my live stream with Ty for Squad Up. I guess he posted on Facebook, and he shares it with me, so I posted it as well. It was done yesterday. Next, kind of part A to this, and hopefully my students can answer this question. So if you're on this and you're one of my students in my course, I got this question yesterday. I'm going to ask it. I'm going to pause for like 15 seconds, and I'm going to look at the chat box, and I'm going to see how many of you reply with what you think I'm going to say. I literally got this question yesterday, and it's like, oh my God, people are not listening. Okay, Michael, I get it. I'm doing the work. I know what's going on. If I find a great deal today, are you telling me to wait? Okay, students, what do you think? If you do the work like I say, you know what average is, you know what good and great is in your market, what do you think you should do if you find a great deal today? I'm going to wait 10 seconds and see what you all think. The answer is buy it. Always buy a great deal. I can't stress this enough. When you watch the market as closely as I do, and I recommend that you do in your focused area, you're looking for great deals. They're hard. You should always buy them. For example, when the market was crashing in 2000, whatever, 8, 9, 10, whenever it was, you have no idea where the bottom is. I was buying houses at 150, 120, 80, 60, 50. I bought a house for 28 grand. A house. Who knew what they were going to be? Always buy a great deal. Yes, make the offer. I love it. Lock in low rate. Yes. Awesome. I'm glad my students got the answer right. That's awesome. That makes me feel good. Oh, next one I got was somebody asked about remodels. All right, what remodel returns the most? So let's be very clear. While I flip homes today, I do not consider myself a flipper. Got to remember, I'm a landlord. So I flip to other landlords. So my answer is going to be not what you're looking for, but I wanted to ask the question. So when you buy an affordable home, like where I focus, my market's 350. My market median is 350. I try to play below 200. There are a couple things that tenants really like. First off, they like a clean kitchen, new countertops, all of that. Do they need an open floor plan? Do I need to take walls and move plumbing? Absolutely not. Kitchen's a kitchen. Bathrooms. They prefer 1.5 or more, right? It's that second toilet that is interesting. Do you have to have two, bathtubs or showers? You don't have to. It's a nice, right? A full two bathrooms is nice, but not required. Parking, right? They prefer garage over carport. They would prefer carport over street. The one thing I've learned in the last year is, and this is the first time in 20 years, this has never mattered before. I'm getting more rent when the property has a brand new fence in the backyard. It doesn't have to be brand new, but a well-structured, well-defined gates, probably just one gate, but maybe two. That has actually got me an extra $100 in rent. Again, this is all single-family home rentals. Why is that? Well, people want their dogs and they want their, put the kids in the backyard while they work. It's amazing, right? So again, when I think about being a landlord, for me, what do I want to say? The second half bath makes the most importance. Extra bedroom next, parking next, and then surprisingly enough, a safe and secure fenced in backyard. Paint colors don't matter. They don't care, right? Paint's never gotten me more rent. New flooring doesn't really get new rent, but it does help turns. So that's why I put in that LVT flooring. That's for me, the landlord. Open floor plans don't get more rent. What else? A fenced front yard may get you a little bit more rent, but I haven't seen that just yet. It's definitely the fenced backyard. Okay, so that's that question. Okay. All right, Michael. So you tell me it's time to get ready. You tell me to do the homework. I'm going to buy your course. What am I looking for? Well, first off, as I always say, define your criteria, daily execution, track the changes and what's going on. So what's going to change? Well, the beauty is you're looking at it daily. So what you're going to start to see is out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere, you're going to start to see more listings pop up. And, it'll be slow at first. It'll be 1Z, 2Z, 3Zs. But also you're going to start to say, oh my God, I've been watching this for 60 or 90 days. These used to go pending in 24 hours. They're now taking, oh my God, 96 hours, right? You're going to start to see sale pendings go back to active, right? This environment where we've been, the perfect storm to just nonsense and craziness the last 14 months, you don't have to look hard. You're going to see it in the work I tell you to do. Yes, the national media will start to report these things. Dude, the national media will be 2 months late, maybe 3 months late. Focus on your box. Look at your box. Track your box, right? See what's going on. Increased inventory, longer days on market, pendings going back active. You'll actually see price reductions. Oh my God, it's like just crazy and nonsense. And it's going to happen, right? And then really what will happen as you get past the first, because like you, I'm going to be over the moon excited when I start seeing that in my searches. But what really will happen probably 4 months into this, whenever yours starts, 4 months is when you're going to start to see quality differences. Because I still firmly believe the best houses in the best locations priced right, they're going to go quick. We've never played in that market though, right? The top 20% of beautiful houses, they're always going to go owner occupant. That's not for you and me. So get that stuff out. Go, move fast. Who cares? I want the others. I want the non-perfect. I want the one with the 1970s gold tile in the bathroom or whatever, those little gold squares. Jeez. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah. So that's what I think is going to happen. Oh, God. So is it a good time to sell? Well, I don't know your market. I don't know your asset. I don't know lots of things. But in general, I think you want to sell when there's no inventory and lots of demand. Kind of feels like a no-brainer question to me. But, again, there's subtleties in every market. I don't know your market. I don't know your property. I don't know you. I don't know what you would do with the money. Lots of other things. But damn, if you had a problem property, sell it. I'm selling one of my problems. So, yeah. So 2 more questions. I'll just bend these together because I don't want to seem self-serving. I got a question about, hey, I'm on the fence about your course, but $200 means a lot to me. My answer is don't buy it. I don't need it. I put out daily content for a reason. Just watch free YouTube. It's free. Come back every Saturday and ask me questions. There's obviously lots of things going on in the course. You get more mentoring and all of that stuff in the private Facebook group. I think the course is remarkably cheap at $199. But if $199 is that meaningful to you and it's a stretch, don't buy it. Hopefully that makes sense. On the second topic of one-on-one mentoring, yes, I've released it. Yes, it's $499. If you have any questions about it, same answer. Don't buy it. Yeah. Again, hopefully you've seen enough of me by now that, if you're one of my old students and you bought $199 and you're at that point where you want it, reach out to me. We'll work something out. It's not craziness here. I do believe it's gonna help some people, and I learned that last Sunday or 2 Sundays ago. But again, I will not be heartbroken if no one buys it. I've allocated 2 hours a week only, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Sunday Pacific, because again, I value my time. So that's what I got for you today. At least that's prepared. Now let's go to the top and see what we got here. Scrolling. Dion, how are you, man? Good morning. Oh, good job spending Saturday educating yourself. Dion, you do some good work, man. Folks, if you haven't subscribed to Dion's channel yet, do yourself a favor. He just did a video the other day on single family home and apartments, or multifamily. Let's be clear. I think it was singles and multi. It was funny. It was well done. Dion's got a sense of humor and just pretty awesome. So I won't steal the thunder of it, but that was a pretty good video, Dion. It made me laugh. Well done. But not John, not much today. How you doing, John? Ross. Okay, here we go. Some people talk about paying off rental properties ahead of 30-year mortgage. How do you balance that with using cash to acquire more? At what point do you stop acquiring and start paying down? Ross, those are very individual choices. If you have read my book, I will go back to this answer. First, Dave Ramsey is the one that most people talk about when they say, I got to pay off my mortgages and all of that. That's not the story I follow. I talk to, I was a full-time employee, right? So I consider real estate investing stages. Stage 1 is accumulating cash flow positive, non-alligator, high yield properties. Everything I bought had debt. And in the beginning, everything I bought had maximum debt, right? I think it was 4 out of the first 5 properties were 90% loans, right? And only 10% down. High leverage. As markets rise, and read my book. It turned out okay. However, as you get to kind of the exit, which could be phase 2 or 3, depending on how you want to run your journey, I do think paying off some of your portfolio is a good idea. I call it the oh shit pile. I was trying to think of another way to say it, but that's what I call it. So why hide it? So I have a pile of assets free and clear on purpose because I have the scars from witnessing the real estate crash. So I always want to have a pile that, in theory, no one could come get. Yes, they still have property taxes. Yes, they still have insurance. But in essence, the biggest expense, i.e., a mortgage payment, is not the problem. However, I don't think I would ever pay off most of my properties, right? You don't want to, debt's there for a reason, especially today, right? Debt for most of you is under 4%. If we ever got to a high interest rate environment and for whatever reason we had to pay 14% interest or 12, you might want to pay off your debt, but we're not in that environment. So that's kind of what I think. Hopefully that makes sense, Ross. Yeah, Dion's got some good stuff. Joey, assuming you invest in a community complex that you're already familiar with, have you ever toyed with offering more than 1% due diligence in the competitive market to make your offer more appealing? More than 1% due diligence. Are you talking earnest money deposit? I think you're talking earnest money. So I think, Joey, what you're asking is, hey, it's a 300K house. I'm going to put 3K down. It's earnest money. If that's what you're talking about, hell yeah, I've done that. Sometimes in a competitive market, it's about standing out. So I've done a couple of things. I've done 10%. I'm cool with offering. I've offered 50% of purchase price. I have all my conditions. I can get out. It's escrowed at a title company. I'm not concerned about losing it. One time in a very highly competitive situation, I offered to open escrow with the full purchase price. Yeah, I think you have to do whatever you can to stand out. Offering more than the standard 1% earnest money is one way to do that. But don't give up those conditions. You don't want to risk those conditions, in my opinion. Miguel, when looking at yield, do you assess yield on rental income at time of purchase or after you do repairs and increase rents? It's after I do repairs and increase rents, Miguel, because I consider what I call make ready if you're one of my students. So, right, you purchase a junker, it rents for 800. You spend 10 grand and then it rents for 1200. I want you to count the 10 grand in make ready and we're going to deal with 1200. It's all about getting it to that level, right? It's not current rents. It's after remodel, after make ready, whatever you want to call that. So yes, after, not before. And frankly, that's one of the ways we're going to get lots of great deals is because we're going to be able to increase the value, increase the rents, and get great returns. Yes, if you find a great deal, buy. Always make the offer. Yes, you guys are awesome. Lock in the low rate. Jump on it. Yes. You call me and I'll buy it. That's awesome. Make the offer. You guys nailed it. It's always a good time to buy a great deal. Yep. I messed up on my answer. Yes. Tenants like fences for privacy, kids, and pets. All right. I think I've got all the questions. What else do you guys have? Any more questions? Because if we end early, we end early. And then I just wait for 9 o'clock when I open up the private Facebook group for students. Any more questions? Let's see. Let's give you guys a couple of minutes, see what's going on. You're welcome. I'm happy to do it. Happy to help. It's fun. It's fun for me. So while I kill time, remember, if you're watching this and you read this book and you haven't done a 5-star review yet, please do that. Also, if you want to have some fun, take a selfie, maybe whatever you're looking at, and tag me on Instagram. Let's see how many of you tag me on Instagram today. Take a selfie, tag me on Instagram at one rental at a time. Let's have some fun. All right, so we got some more questions. Cool. What do you think of multifamily small apartments coming up? Well, we got to be very careful and define what that is. So small apartments, if we're talking residential, like duplexes, tris, and quads, I think it's the same thing with, it's all residential. So kind of the same answer as before. I think it's coming. 5 to 20 units, Troy, which is where I play. I think a lot of that could be coming, but it's going to be based on when the debt comes due for reset, which probably means we're out. What is it? 21, probably 23, 24, 25, 2023, 4, and 5. It's going to be a good time, but commercial doesn't react as fast as residential. But it'll happen. I mean, just look at my book, Troy. I started buying houses for ridiculous prices. Probably for 18 months, we were buying in the downturn, maybe even 2 years. And then all of a sudden, all this distressed apartments showed up. We bought an 18-unit building, 0 down. We bought a 10-unit building for an escrow of $40K in repairs. We bought the one next door for nothing. This will happen, right? Mom and pop landlords who have a bad debt structure will be in trouble, but it's a couple years out, in my opinion. Where were we? Smash the like button, Miguel. Thank you, buddy. Mike, please elaborate on how depreciation, etc., works for you and how it out all of the profit from the properties. Thank you. So, Chris, I'm a real estate professional now. I don't have a W-2. So depreciation is a non-cash expense that allows you to, it's a non-cash expense. Let's just say I buy a house for, let's just make it easy math. I buy a house for 30 grand. Actually, you know what? Let's make it $285,000. That way the math works better. $285,000. The natural depreciation schedule for houses is 28 and a half years. That allows me to write off $10,000 a year. If you're watching this and you know land is not included, so it's really not 285, but let the simple example go. I can take that $10,000 a month or $10,000 a year, excuse me, for the next 28 and a half years and write that off. It doesn't actually cost me. I don't write a check $10,000 in income with a loss. Also, I've done some interviews with Bob Langworthy, I believe his name is, CPA. You can look up on my channel. There's some talk there. Do you expect eviction moratorium to be extended past summer? No. Well, I don't know what. That freaking eviction moratorium. I believe it is illegal, frankly. I believe in the U.S. Constitution. There's a clause in there called the taking clause. I believe it is against our U.S. Constitution and against our state constitution, which is just sad. So I wanted to get that off my chest. I think there's a very good chance it will be extended through June. I don't call that summer, though. I think there's a pretty good chance it goes to May 31st, maybe June 30th. But this thing's got to be over. It's got to be over. Part of this transitioning from dark to light I talk about is getting all these government overreach things out of the way. So I think it could go through May 31st or June 30th, but I don't see it going longer than that, but anybody's guess. Will you invest in the WeWork IPO? No. What's ideal cash for keys in the Fresno market? 2 times rent. Doesn't always work, but that seems to have worked for me. 2 times rent. Do you think flipping home is a good strategy in this time in the hot market? It all depends on when you're buying, Kenny. But yeah, I mean, I think I came out like 6 months ago and said this might be the best year for flipping. You got to be very careful, though. I do see the market changing, as we talked about earlier. So I would not do a master suite edition where you got to spend 4 months getting through zoning and drawings and things of that nature. But if you just buy a house, you lipstick it, carpet paint, maybe kitchen, bath, it's a great time. If you can get in and out in 3 or 4 months, go nuts. I think it's still going to be a good year to flip clean properties. Remember what I said earlier, Kenny, about the top 10% of properties just flying off the shelf? I think those are most flips. So as long as you're building to that, I think so. I know you don't like HOA fees, investment property condos, but what about gated communities or planned communities? It's all about the numbers. It's all about the numbers. I'm not opposed to them. I own a condo with HOA as a rental. So, I mean, as long as the numbers work, the numbers work. So, John, would a multiple suburbs or city single family home in a great school district be focused enough for just one? John, I'm not sure if you're in my course or you're whatnot, but I'm going to assume you're not. What I always tell everybody is whatever your criteria is when you want that list between 20 and 40 active properties. So if one zip code gets you 20 properties, that's enough. If it takes two, it takes two. It's a little harder today with nothing listed, but that's what I say. But whatever you decide up front, consistently look at it daily. All right, everybody, I'm going to call it for today. I will get 24 minutes back to just kind of relax. And if you're one of my students, remember, private Facebook group, one rental at a time works. Ask yourself to join if you haven't already. And I will talk to you at 9 o'clock Pacific. Bye-bye.